Yo, I'm really starting to think that that's been the case for me all my life, bro. Me being quiet, it was really just a defense mechanism because I didn't want anybody to not like me. So I just was like, oh, it's better to not say nothing. I didn't used to filter myself back then, like when I was younger. Once I got comfortable with you, I was real cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was just being me. But now with people, bro, like, I don't know, it just feels like I'm performing. You know, I just really can't be who I really am because the true me right now is just a nigga that don't really talk like that. You feel me? Like, I have things that I want to say, but I still don't say them. That's why when I go back to my friend group, I can't stop talking about the shit that I learned and the thoughts that I had, to the point where niggas is like, all right, nigga, shut up. Because I be really trying to talk about some deep shit. You feel me? But not everybody want to hear that deep shit. Yeah, I feel like that has been a crazy realization I just had. Like, my whole life, I've just been sheltering myself for as long as I know. It's crazy. What's going on, YouTube? cdagreen here, back with another video, and today we have the psychology of a quiet kid. Now, I ain't gonna lie, just this image is kind of creeping me out. I'm starting to think this might be one of them AI vids, but let's hope not. Like, this imagery is very like child-esque and it's kind of creeping me out, so I don't want to look at this shit for too long. But basically, the premise of the video, the psychology of the quiet kid, basically, what is the quiet kid thinking? What is on his mind? What are his thought tendencies? Does he put limitations on himself? Is that why he's quiet? Maybe he really wants to be out, you know what I'm saying, extroverted and out there with people, but he's just so afraid of being judged. I feel like that might be it, because I feel like I can classify myself as a quiet kid. You feel me? Naturally, I don't like to talk to people, whether it be not having anything to say. That's what I say it is a lot of the time. And really in the moment, it really feels like that. Like, I really convince myself, well, yeah, I just don't want to talk to nobody. But really, maybe I'm just afraid of being judged. You know, that's a big thing for me. And I need to overcome that, you know what I'm saying? So the psychology of a quiet kid, let's see if I'm right with any of them assumptions. If y'all interested to find out too, and if y'all is quiet kids, you know what I'm saying, watch the vid. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like it, comment, and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching, and let's get straight to it. Okay. We who live in the quiet places have the opportunity to become acquainted with ourselves, to think our own thoughts and live our own lives in a way that is not possible for those keeping up with the crowd. I like that. So basically, those who live in quiet places, you know what I'm saying, by themselves, they have the opportunity to really get to know themselves, you know what I'm saying? And if you constantly caught up in the crowd, you trying to like be a part of a clique, you're not really taking that time to really understand yourself, so you can't do shit like that. If you a quiet nigga, you really got that self-love. You really know yourself, because you don't need nobody else to make you feel whole. You feel me? But them niggas that's constantly living for other people, you know what I'm saying? They in that crowd, they doing all that dumb shit, trying to fit in. They don't really know they self, bro. You feel me? I like that a lot.
He sits on the edge of the playground, not because he is lonely, but because something else is happening inside him. The swings blur in the background like slow-moving planets. Voices rise and fall. The world is loud and busy, and he is listening, not in order to reply, but to understand. There is a whole life existing behind his quiet. It is an interior life, rich with observation, small rituals, private experiments, and long, solemn questions that no one has asked him. People confuse quiet with absence. They measure presence by volume, by the speed of replies, by how fast someone can perform on demand. But the quiet child is not empty. They are deep. They are a reservoir. From the outside, silence looks like distance. From the inside, it is careful cultivation. And that difference between how it looks and how it feels is the beginning of everything we misunderstand about being quiet.
Yeah, I think I was right. This shit is kind of creeping me out. But hopefully it got some, what's it called? Some, what's that word I'm looking for, bro? Some, what is that word? Hopefully it has some, value, value to offer.
Why does a child choose silence? Sometimes it is temperament. Some children are born with nervous systems that prefer low stimulation. They find stillness restful. Other times, silence grows as a defense. In households where speaking up brought criticism, where emotion was inconvenient, a young mind learned to self-soothe by withdrawing.
Yep.
In classrooms that reward speed and participation, quietness is treated like a defect rather than a gift. Yet neither temperament nor survival strategy tells the whole story. The quiet child often contains a paradox, intensely social in their way, but cautious in the ways the rest of the world demands social engagement. The quiet child sees patterns. While others rush to be heard, they notice who is left out, the micro moments of hurt, the way a teacher's smile changes when someone misses a question. Listening is their craft. They collect impressions like stones. Later, those stones become metaphors, sentences, inventions, music, the untouched material of creativity. Think of the poets and the scientists who began as watchers rather than talkers. In silence, they learned to accumulate nuance. In silence, they tested the textures of the world before making a move. And yet, silence is fragile. It lives in a social economy that prizes performance and immediacy.
Okay, so basically they saying that quiet people observe first, you know? They want to be social just like everybody else, but they're not doing it just for the sake of doing it. They observe first, notice everybody around them, and put out the energy that they feel like they want to put out, you know what I'm saying? With the people that they want to put it out with. They're not just doing it because they feel like it's necessary to fit in. They're doing it because they really want to. And they do it at their own pace, on their own schedule, on their own time.
The quiet child frequently internalizes a single corrosive message: you must be louder to be loved. So they adapt. Some mask, learning to mimic the extroverted scripts they see on stage or in life. Masking is energy draining. It makes the inside grow colder. Others react by withdrawing further, convinced that the world will never slow down enough to meet them. What begins as a strategy for safety becomes a lifelong negotiation between self and expectation. There is also a moral subtlety here. Quiet children are often assumed to be well-behaved, obedient, easy. Adults relax, but easy is not the same as nurtured. A child who does not demand attention may not be getting it. In schools and families, attention is sometimes allocated not by need, but by volume. The child who shouts their need gets it first. The child who whispers waits. Those long waits accumulate. They are small debits on the heart's ledger that, over time, compound into a certain entitlement of silence. Expecting less, asking less, believing that one's needs are optional. This is where the psychology curls inward. Quietness can be a chapel and a prison. The chapel is where reflection breeds insight. The prison is where self-erasure becomes habit. The quiet child learns to interpret their own voice as risky. They rehearse the sentences they wish they could say and then decide not to say them. They become fluent in apology as a form of preemptive protection.
No cap, bro. It's just fake. It just feels fake, and you become anxious. You know, you get by without expressing yourself for so long, and nobody really cared, you know, because you was quiet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Closed mouths don't get fed in a way. But it's like when you go so long not even saying nothing and nobody really calls it out and says, hey, man, what do you think? Like they actually care. You start internalizing, man, maybe what I have to say doesn't fucking matter. So I just won't say it. And that's crazy. I ain't even gonna lie. They on a little something here. I ain't gonna lie.
Sorry, I don't mean to bother. Before they've even spoken. Over time, the apology becomes an identity, a way to survive under the assumption that their presence is an imposition. And yet, there is a power in that apology. Quiet people, when they finally speak, tend to be heard. Their words are like dated coins. They spend carefully, and because they are rare, they are noticed. But being noticed does not automatically translate to being understood. The quiet person's language is often indirect, symbolic, or slow. Modern conversation favors the immediate retort, the zippy comment. When someone offers a slow, considered thought, the group may fail to catch the thread. The quiet child then learns to compress themselves, to make their words smaller, to fit into the group's tempo.
Yep.
What might help us rethink this dynamic is to consider silence as not a problem to be fixed, but a quality to be respected. Silence is a different mode of engagement. It is not passive, it is patient. It holds back the rush of judgment. It allows complexity to breathe. Imagine a world in which we value the slow responder as much as the quick one. Imagine meetings where the first 10 seconds were intentionally left unfilled to give the quiet mind time to articulate something original. Most of our social architectures, classrooms, open plan offices, team meetings, are designed for immediacy, not depth. The quiet child is often living in a world constructed against their most natural rhythm. There is another dimension we must address: the pain of misframing. The quiet child who internalizes messages becomes as hard on themselves as the world is silent toward them. They measure their value against the noise around them and find themselves wanting. They may assume that their introspection is a defect, that their long silences are a symptom of brokenness. In adolescence, as peers form identity around visibility, social media profiles, likes, shout-outs, the quiet teen can feel increasingly out of step. The interiority that once felt rich now appears like a liability. The covert self begins to seek permission to be seen.
Yo, I'm really starting to think that that's been the case for me all my life, bro. Me being quiet, it's really crazy because, like, I'm still dealing with this today to a certain extent. Me being quiet, it was really just a defense mechanism because I didn't want anybody to not like me. So I just was like, oh, it's better to not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Until I get really comfortable with people. And I feel like I didn't used to filter myself back then, like when I was younger. Once I got comfortable with you, I was real cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was just being me. But now with people, bro, like, I don't know, it just feels like I'm performing. You know, I just really can't be who I really am because the true me right now is just a nigga that don't really talk like that. You feel me? And I don't know. I feel like that might just be an excuse I'm still putting up. Like, you feel me? Like, I have things that I want to say. That's why I'm so targeted in my videos. Like, I feel like I have a lot of things that I want to say, but I still don't say them. That's why when I go back to my friend group, I can't stop talking about the shit that I learned and the thoughts that I had and the experiences I had, like all that. You feel me? To the point where niggas is like, all right, nigga, shut up. Like, you feel me? I feel like nobody cares about what I'm trying to say when I'm talking to them niggas, because I be really trying to talk about some deep shit. You feel me? But not everybody want to hear that deep shit. You know, it's a time and a place for it, definitely. But yeah, I feel like that has been a crazy realization I just had. Like, my whole life, I've just been sheltering myself for as long as I know. It's crazy.
An unspoken, aching request that says, "You may look, but do you know what to see?" Sometimes the quiet child becomes an adult who exploits their own invisibility. They work in the background, take on supporting roles, and keep their ambition small. Not because they lack capability, but because they were never taught to take up space. And yet, in other cases, the quiet child's interior life becomes a fuel for leadership of a different kind. There is a leadership born of observation, a leader who listens first, who models patience, who sees the shy person in the room and makes space for them. The quiet person's capacity to hold complexity can become a profound resource in any community that learns to appreciate it. How then do we care for the quiet child? The first step is to validate without demanding performance, to welcome the child's slow replies instead of filling the silence on their behalf, to ask open-ended questions that allow them to explore rather than interrogate, to give them roles that require contemplation rather than spectacle, the recorder of ideas, the curator of projects, the observer who draws maps of group dynamics. These roles do not corner them into being less social. They honor their modality and give them pathways to contribute meaningfully. We also need to teach the quiet child skills for translation, how to turn their rich inner life into accessible expressions when needed. This is not about forcing extroversion. It is about giving tools, small rehearsals before social events, templates for starting conversations, signals they can use when they need time to formulate a response. Imagine teaching a child to say, "I'm processing, give me 5 minutes," as a normal part of social interaction. That 5-minute rule would transform how
I don't know about 5 minutes. That's a little excessive. Imagine somebody asks you a question and they thinking straight for 5 minutes. You probably don't even care anymore, nor do you remember the question you even asked. You know, I understand, like, maybe if you want like 10 seconds, you know, that's cool. 5 minutes though, my nigga, like, goddamn, it's like, so how's your day going, bro? And it's like, how's my day? Give me a little second to think about it. I just want to make sure I answer your question in its entirety. Like, bro, like that shit, that shit is bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not that deep, my nigga.
Regard the rhythm of thought and speech. There is a philosophical lesson here too. In an era that confuses speed for wisdom, quietness is a corrective. It reminds us that thought is not speech, and listening is not silence. The quiet child is an invitation to slow down, to consider, to notice. Their presence asks a deeper question. What does it mean to be fully present without dominating? How do we design societies that reward depth rather than spectacle? Yet, none of this eliminates the real vulnerabilities. The quiet child is more likely to be overlooked in evaluations, to be bypassed for leadership roles, to be misdiagnosed as disengaged. The stakes are high. Without conscious intervention, the quiet child can adopt a narrative of invisibility, a belief that their voice is not necessary, and that belief, once in place, can shape a life.
Yeah.
At the edge of this conversation,
I feel like, bro, this maybe this video is just trying to give people a perspective on people who are quiet, since they don't talk and they don't express themselves. That's why videos like this need to be made. But we can't just like absolve all, like, you know what I'm saying, responsibility from the quiet kid, you know? Because if you don't talk, if you don't tell people you have something wrong, then they're just gonna think things is okay, because like everybody worried about themselves, bro. You feel me? They worried about themselves, they friends that's actually talking to them and shit. So like the quiet kid is like, okay, if he has some, like, you know what I'm saying, they think about it like you. You know what I'm saying? They think about you. They think that you would act the same way they would. Or if I had something wrong with me, I would just speak up. So they probably assume the same for the quiet kid. So, you know, it's not to say that it is the quiet kid's fault, but it's kind of like, don't just, you know, blame everybody else. It's like, oh yeah, y'all gotta understand these quiet kids, they need love too. It's like, okay, but like the quiet kid can learn to speak up for themselves too. You know what I'm saying? But he did say, or this video, this AI shit, they did say something about, oh yeah, we have to teach our children how to express themselves, how to turn that inner dialogue into social conversations and things like that, which is like, okay, yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're not, bro, like quiet people aren't just victims, bro. Like we were trained to believe certain things, but it's like nobody even told us shit. It was just how we took it. Like it's not like somebody, or always, it's not always, because there is people who do get told, shut up, stop talking as a kid. But I feel like not everybody is that way. I certainly wasn't, not to my knowledge. I just didn't want to be judged and shit. I don't know where it comes from for real, but that's just how I've been for the longest time. But yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? I definitely could have spoke up more a few times, my nigga. Took some risks. You know what I'm saying? If somebody don't like me, okay, at least I, you know what I'm saying, being me. So yeah, bro. Yeah, I don't know.
is a kind
Not to say that you should feel pressured to just speak quickly as shit, you know what I'm saying? Never take your time, talk at your own pace, be yourself. We should definitely teach our kids to do that, which is, I guess, what the video is saying, right? You know what I'm saying? More inclusion, right? I guess.
kind of quiet revolution waiting to happen. What if we reimagined classrooms, workplaces, and families so that the quiet voice had both protection and projection? What if the slow thinker was given the first chance to speak precisely because they need it most? What would happen if our cultural default were to assume depth instead of drama? These are not theoretical questions, they are practical ones, and the answers shape destinies. The child under the maple tree, the one who watches the swings and listens for the slow drum of meaning, can be guided into adulthood that recognizes their gift rather than punishes it. They can be taught to translate, to assert gently, to find companions who prefer conversation that unfolds, and to inhabit space without shouting. There is a paradox that returns like a tide. The quieter you are, the more room you make for others to be loud. But the louder the world becomes, the more essential the quiet becomes. So the question is not how to make the quiet louder, it is how to make the world listen. And that has everything to do with rethinking value, attention, and the very architecture of our shared space.
Niggas could speak up though, you know. Like, I was just saying that, you know what I'm saying? The world can be more accepting than niggas, but like they don't owe that to nobody. Like nobody owes us anything in this world. If we want some shit, my nigga, we gotta get it ourselves. You hear me? Real shit. Yeah.
If you find yourself in this quiet, know this. Your silence is not a deficit. It is a malleable strength. It can be armor, prison, or sanctuary, depending on how you treat it. The path forward is not to erase the quiet, but to learn how to steward it, to let it be both refuge and instrument, both safe harbor and loudspeaker when necessary. There is a way for the quiet to teach the loud how to listen, and for the loud to teach the quiet how to be seen. The bridge between these modes is practice, patience, and the willingness to reshape the expectations we inherit. Stay with that thought for a moment. There is more to uncover: how the quiet translate into different adult archetypes, how silence intersects with creativity and leadership, and the practical rituals a quiet person can adopt to thrive without becoming someone they are not. Still, there's a hidden struggle in being the quiet one. He is constantly underestimated. Teachers overlook him for leadership roles. Friends forget to invite him to plans because they assume he wouldn't want to come. In group conversations, his ideas are ignored until someone else says the same thing louder, and suddenly it's brilliant.
It's not ignored though. Like, the nigga just didn't say shit. You know, like, we not just gonna act like quiet niggas is victims, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, stop. Like, you know what I'm saying? We definitely do need to be understood to a degree, bro. But like, the psychology of a quiet kid, oh yeah, they wouldn't want to hear me anyway, so I shouldn't even speak up. It's just like, damn, nigga, how we supposed to know what you think? Like, you know what I'm saying? We might say, hey, what you think, bro? And then you say, oh, you barely even respond. Okay, we just gonna assume you don't want to talk. All right, bet, bro. Like, you good. You know what I'm saying? We not gonna force you to do nothing you don't want to do. So, yeah, we need to take some accountability, bro. Us quiet kids, man. Come on.
Strange kind of invisibility, one that can make you feel like you're both present and absent at the same time. And yet, in that invisibility, there is freedom. The quiet kid can move through life without the constant performance others feel trapped in. He can observe without being observed. He can learn without the pressure to constantly prove himself. This is why so many quiet kids develop rich inner lives. They have the space to think deeply, to feel deeply, to dream without interruption. But here's the paradox. The same silence that protects him can also isolate him. People can mistake his stillness for disinterest, his shyness for arrogance, his boundaries for walls. This misreading can cut deep, especially when you want to connect but don't know how to bridge the gap between your inner world and the noise outside. And so many quiet kids live with a quiet ache, a longing for someone to understand without them having to explain. There's also a reason why so many quiet kids grow into thinkers, writers, artists, and innovators. They've spent years watching the world without constantly participating in it, which means they've had time to actually understand it. They know how people move when they think no one's watching. They see the flaws in the systems everyone else takes for granted. They recognize patterns before they become obvious, and in their own way, they begin to shape the world, not through noise, but through precision. Still, the quiet kid's journey isn't without danger. Silence can turn into self-erasure if it's born from fear instead of choice. If you've been told your voice doesn't matter enough times, you might start to believe it. If you've been dismissed every time you try to speak, you might stop trying altogether. And over time, the quiet kid might start to hide not just his voice, but parts of himself. But the truth is, quietness isn't about being less. It's about being more observant, more thoughtful, more deliberate. The quiet kid doesn't need to shout to make an impact. He doesn't need to be the center of attention to influence the room. Sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one who doesn't fight to be heard, because he knows that true influence isn't about volume. It's about presence. And perhaps that's the quiet kid's greatest gift. While the rest of the world is busy reacting, he's busy understanding. While others are speaking just to fill the silence, he's holding his words until they matter. And in a world drowning in noise, the one who can sit in stillness and listen is the one who sees the clearest. Because sometimes the quiet kid isn't just watching the world, he's studying it. And one day, when the moment is right, he will speak, and the world will wish it had listened sooner.
Yeah. WVid, I guess. Like, I don't really like this AI shit, bro. It just creeps me out. Like, it's a good message behind it, I guess. Maybe the nigga didn't feel like making this vid himself, but you know, the message still rang through well enough. But the imagery, I could have done without all that shit, bro. And you could have just threw a real nigga on the mic, bro, to read the script. You feel me? Like, that would never hurt, bro. But You know, I understood what they were saying. Basically, quiet kids, they get, misunderstood a lot in childhood. Either they were told that their thoughts didn't matter, or they assumed that because nobody asked them what they thought of things. So then you kind of protect yourself by remaining to be quiet, even though you want to talk. And then, you grow up, and then basically it's the world's fault. Which, you know, I don't know how I feel about that victim mindset, because you're not really a victim, my nigga. You always in control of your life and shit. You could really get about that jam if you try. You know what I'm saying? It's all about taking that first step. It's all your mind, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they just need to get their mind right first. They got all that time to think, my nigga. How about you think about like changing your life? My nigga, like, come on, bro. Like, let's keep it a buck. I'm a quiet nigga too, bro, but you can't be that way forever. Certainly you realize after a while, oh yeah, closed mouths don't get fed, my nigga. Let me talk, bro. Let me get a piece of that chicken. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta learn them skills. Like, if nobody gonna teach it to you, is you just gonna suffer, my nigga? No, you gotta teach yourself them skills. You gotta keep trying shit. Even if it make you uncomfortable, even if you scared, keep making them efforts, my nigga, because them small efforts that make you uncomfortable is gonna expand your comfort zone. All of a sudden, my nigga, you real comfortable. You're not the person that you was, bro. So if the world don't give you something, don't look to them and blame them forever. Take it for yourself. Show them niggas that, oh yeah, I got this. It's mine now. I'm good. You feel me? I ain't need y'all to get this shit to me, my nigga. I got it. And now that I got it, foot on your neck, nigga. Now it's not that deep, but it's just like, okay, yeah, like I would have liked if y'all did that for me, but I'm not mad at y'all. Y'all didn't know, so I just got it for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's how shit work. So yeah, bro. I definitely agree that quiet kids, they just don't want to be judged, or they have things that they want to say but they just might be scared to say it, which is cool. But we gotta outgrow that. We can't just be like, what I'm saying, because at a certain point, my nigga, you gonna be a quiet man. You gonna grow up, be a quiet man, bro. So is you gonna remain a quiet person, or is you gonna remain, what I'm saying, a real nigga? Think about that one. So this was a good vid. You know what I'm saying? I liked it a little bit. It was kind of creepy. Let me know if y'all like AI videos. I really don't, but like these messages be good sometimes. But if y'all enjoyed it, make sure to like the vid, comment, and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Love y'all. Peace.